Now Reform UK's Andrew Rosendale is with me in the studio. Andrew, thank you.
Hi Emily, good morning.
Happy Sunday to you. You having a nice weekend?
Great, yes.
Fantastic.
Very warm in London again.
Fantastic stuff. Now, we've just been alerted to the fact that Rupert Lowe of Restore Britain might wish to work with Nigel Farage in the future.
Well, look, Rupert
Would you welcome him?
Rupert was elected as a Reform UK MP under Nigel's leadership. So clearly there's common ground on lots of issues. My concern is this: our country is heading into a very, very dark place, in my view, under a Labour government, which I think is doing huge damage to our country. The next election is going to be very difficult because
Well, there you go. This is GB News Originals. I'm Emily Carver. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And do leave a comment. Let me know what you think.
You could find that Labour, Liberals, Greens and goodness knows who else form some kind of left-wing alliance. We do have to somehow bring the right of centre in British politics together. Now, what happens with Restore and with Rupert is a matter for Rupert to talk to Nigel about. What I would say to him and to people across the country is that we need a change of government next time, and another left-wing government. Goodness knows what's going to happen to our country if we don't rescue Britain from this direction we're heading in at the moment. So any hope that people can come together and vote for a new government that can save Britain from this mess, I'm all in favour of that. But I think it would be with Nigel Farage as our Prime Minister.
All right. Well, he says there are a few conditions on working together, at least from his side, Rupert Lowe's side. He says ending mass immigration is not enough. It must be reversed. Every illegal migrant must be deported. He says the parties must agree to restore Britain's demographic security, suggesting that white Brits will become a minority. He goes on to talk about the Islamification of Britain, talking about rape gangs and how the recommendations from his own inquiry must be implemented and so on. So these are his demands. How do those sound to you?
Well, look, a lot of what he said, I watched his little piece, his video that he put out. Now, a lot of what he says will resonate with Reform voters and with British people. We are absolutely at the end of our tether with the mass immigration that's come to our country, which nobody voted for, both legal, which is obviously concerning everybody, and illegal, both. Both have had a detrimental impact. He talks about the Christian heritage of this country. Well, I do as well, and I worry that our Christian heritage, the foundations of this country, are being watered down and undermined. Our culture, our heritage, our way of life, our traditions, our customs are being sidelined. Do you think
there's been an Islamification, though?
I think
he certainly does.
I think that there has been an attempt, and there is an attempt by some religions and certain sections of the Islamic community that want to impose their ways on this country. That is unacceptable. Sharia law is unacceptable. Some of the things that happens in that religion is not the British way. So if you come to Britain, you need to respect and uphold the British traditions, British laws and our way of life. If you're not prepared to do that, I don't think they should be in this country.
I mean, he's saying
a lot of what Rupert's saying is correct, but we need to bring things together to get this government out to actually do anything. At the moment, if you have a divided right, all the benefit will go to Labour and the left-wing parties.
OK, well, let's move on to Ceuta, the Spanish enclave in North Africa. Huge numbers of people. I mean, the footage is extraordinary of those 60,000 odd men sort of just stampeding into the territory there. Zia Youssef, your colleague, has been out there doing his own sort of documentation of what's going on. And he seems to be arguing that why have Spain, the Spanish authorities, been allowed to sort of bring the military in?
I'm always happy to meet people and talk to people within reason. Within reason. But I do think it's fair to say that there are one or two people in the orbit of the upper echelons of that party who, if I sat down and talked to, I think our members and our voters would be utterly shocked that I'd done it. I mean, don't forget, I have fought the far right for over a quarter of a century. I took on the BNP for years, and it was a tough thing to do, but I won. I've always made sure that political parties that I've run have absolutely been non-sectarian, non-racially prejudiced, and I've insisted on that for year after year after year, and I wouldn't do anything to jeopardise that, not because politically it wouldn't work for me, but because it would actually be the wrong thing to do. So we can talk to Rupert Lowe, it's fine, you know, but when you have co-founders, etc., putting out what I would call the old theory that we probably haven't heard in this country since 1936, and you have other adjacent publicly supportive people demanding that all Jews be removed from the country. Just as an example, so the condition I would put on it is those people would have to be out of the inner circle, and I think that's, you know, that's that for me would be the only way we could sensibly proceed. And I suspect many of those who say restore in answer to a poll are perhaps not quite aware. You know, they see Rupert, they see this farmer from Gloucestershire. I think they know he makes sense, but those he's got around him, I think they'd be pretty horrified too.
Behind closed doors, political alliances in the United Kingdom are rarely built on camaraderie. They are forged in cold, calculating leverage. What we are witnessing play out between Nigel Farage's Reform UK and Rupert Lowe's Restore Britain is not merely a clash of policy, but a high-stakes duel of authority, ego, and electoral survival. When Farage issued a stark ultimatum to Restore Britain, demanding the immediate dismissal of party co-founder Charlie Downes over alleged anti-Semitic commentary, many political commentators anticipated a swift capitulation or an immediate collapse of talks. Instead, Rupert Lowe responded with a calculated, steady counter-offensive that shifted the crosshairs directly back onto Reform UK's own leadership strategy. Welcome back to Britain Underneath, where we peel back the polished political messaging to expose the raw power dynamics shaping the future of this country. Before we dive into the heart of this confrontation, take a second to hit that subscribe button. Supporting the channel directly allows us to continue bringing you the unvarnished truth behind Westminster's most volatile moves. So subscribe now and make sure you stay ahead of the curve. The narrative crafted by Reform UK was simple and designed to dominate headlines. By framing the expulsion of Downes as a non-negotiable moral boundary, Farage sought to position Reform as the sole respectable, mainstream standard-bearer for the right. Yet, when you scrutinise the conditions laid out by Lee Anderson and the party executive, the strategy appears far less about moral hygiene and far more about total political dominance. Reform insisted that they would not step aside in a single constituency, meaning they intend to run candidates across all seats, regardless of any potential pact. For Rupert Lowe, a seasoned businessman accustomed to hard-line negotiations, this stance rendered the very idea of a coalition entirely hollow. Lowe's public response was both sharp and strategically grounded. He rightly pointed out that an arrangement where one partner refuses to compromise on seat allocation is not a negotiation, it is a demand for total submission. To ask Restore Britain candidates to stand down to prevent vote splitting, while Reform refuses to offer reciprocal concessions, exposes a fundamental unwillingness to share power. Furthermore, Lowe rejected the demand to terminate Downes, explicitly stating that he would not throw a young party member under the bus to appease another organisation's leadership. In doing so, Lowe projected an image of internal loyalty and resilience, directly contrasting it with what many perceive as Farage's autocratic management style. If you appreciate this level of deep, uncompromising analysis, please take a moment to subscribe to Britain Underneath. Your support is vital in keeping this channel independent and enabling us to bring you continuous, high-quality political reporting. Beyond the immediate dispute over party personnel, The deeper fissure between these two factions lies in their strategic vision for governance. Farage and his allies appear content to absorb former conservative figures and integrate established political machinery into their ranks to secure immediate electoral viability. Lowe, on the other hand, has drawn a firm line against welcoming back ministers who oversaw years of policy stagnation. His insistence that any potential agreement must be rooted in concrete policy platforms rather than personal ambition highlights a growing ideological rift. Restore Britain is attempting to position itself as a structured policy engine focusing on long-term structural reforms in economics, energy and border enforcement, whereas Reform UK relies heavily on the personal magnetism and media dominance of Farage. The reporter's observation of this saga reveals a crucial reality about the contemporary political landscape. Farage's ultimatum was intended to force Lowe into an impossible corner: either destroy his own party's internal cohesion by sacrificing a co-founder, or accept total blame for dividing the opposition vote. But Lowe's refusal to accept those terms has flipped the narrative. By maintaining that Restore Britain remains open to sensible, good-faith negotiations on policy, Lowe has placed the responsibility for a fragmented vote
Much of
firmly
Kent is
back
becoming
on Reform
unrecognisable
UK.
as the
If
population
vote splitting
explodes.
ultimately
Your
secures
council
another
tax
victory for the left
has risen by
alliance in upcoming
25% in
elections,
the last 5 years.
Reform's absolute
For Kent
refusal to
County
yield
Council
European seats
to have run
will
up
be
a
difficult
debt
to defend
of
to an increasingly frustrated electorate.
£740
As this
million
political chess match
suggests to me
unfolds,
not just
it is
complacency but
essential to look
negligence
beyond
on a
the
scale
immediate
that is
media
verging
threats
on the
and
insane.
evaluate who
Council
truly
taxpayers of
holds
Kent
the
are now
long-term
paying a daily
strategic
interest bill on that money
Take a
of
breath, analyse the facts, and stay informed.
They have managed
Because
the
the
money
decisions
badly,
made by these
and I would
party
argue
leaders over the
that
coming
Kent
months
County
will dictate
Council
the
is broken,
trajectory of
and
British
only
opposition
reform
politics
can
for a
and
generation.
will fix it.
Every
We may
nuance
well
matters.
represent
Every
the
statement
last chance
carries weight.
to save our
And
country.
understanding
We believe
these hidden
we can get our
mechanics
country
is
back
precisely
on
why
track.
following this
We believe in
case
Britain.
closely
We
is
believe in the
so
British people. We believe in the
To
values
ensure
that
you
those that
never
went
miss an
before us
update as
fought
this
for,
situation
that made
develops,
this country
please
great.
subscribe to
Give your
Written
candidates one
Underneath
great
right
big
now.
round of applause and wish
Building
them
a
well.
community of informed viewers helps this channel grow and allows us to deliver the sharpest political analysis available anywhere on the web.
Looking at the broader picture, both parties are operating under severe time constraints and brutal electoral mathematics. The Westminster political system does not favour divided movements. History demonstrates that when two competing parties target the same voter base without a formal non-aggression pact, the first-past-the-post system ruthlessly punishes them both. Lowe understands this arithmetic, which is precisely why he offered targeted concessions where Restore Britain candidates would stand aside in specific seats to defeat left-wing opponents. Reform's insistence on running everywhere suggests a belief that they can simply swallow Restore Britain whole without needing to negotiate. Whether that belief is hubris or sound strategy remains to be seen.
The personal friction between the figures involved only adds to the volatility. Political movements built around strong personalities often struggle when forced to accommodate secondary power centres. Lowe's refusal to bend to Farage's demands demonstrates that Restore Britain is unwilling to function merely as a client organisation for Reform UK. By demanding that talks return to substantive policy white papers rather than personal disputes and public ultimatums, Lowe is attempting to elevate the dialogue to a level where credentials and detailed planning matter more than soundbites. As we continue to track this unfolding story, your readership and engagement are what power this platform. If you have not done so yet, take a quick second to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every single subscription genuinely helps the channel thrive, ensuring that Written Underneath remains your primary destination for rigorous Ultimately, the ball now rests in Reform UK's court. They can choose to re-engage on policy terms, recognise the practical necessity of seat adjustments, and build a unified front capable of challenging the current administration. Or they can maintain their uncompromising stance, run candidates in every corner of the realm, and risk splitting the right-wing vote to disastrous effect. Whatever choice they make, you can be certain that we will be right here, analysing every move, unpacking every statement, and bringing you the complete story as it develops. Thank you for watching Britain Underneath. Subscribe today to stay informed, support independent journalism, and ensure you never miss our upcoming political investigations. See you in the next video.